Thank you, Dr. Dorman. Hello, everyone. Today, I'm here to talk about the effect of food on mental health, and especially on stress and anxiety. So I will start with the definition of mental health, types of stress reaction, a fast and a slow stress response, and the difference between acute and chronic stress, and protective effect of diet on stress, and adverse effect of diet on stress at the end. So I know today we talk about the mental health a lot, but let me emphasize on that more. So mental health is a key part of overall health and is determined by multiple factors that interact with each other. Mental health is connected to physical health, to behavior, thinking, and emotions. So based on WHO definition, mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life and realize their abilities, learn well and work well, and contribute to their community. And again, based on WHO reports, mental health conditions are increasing globally, and the main cause is the demographic alteration. So there has been a considerable rise in mental health disorders in the last decade. Mental health conditions may lead to substantial impact in all areas of our lives, such as school or work performance, relationship with family and friends, and also participation in community. So two most common mental health conditions in the world, depression and anxiety, cost globally more than $1 trillion each year. Let's see what's anxiety. Anxiety disorders are the most prevalent mental disorders and produce fear, worry, and constant feeling of being overwhelmed. So anxiety feeling can be triggered by stress. There is a kind of bidirectional relationship between stress and anxiety. Just as the stress has the potential to produce anxiety, so anxiety can start another cycle of stress. And what's the stress? It is a normal evolutionary response by human to any potential threat or factor that may cause harm. Sorry, that we call them stressors. So overwhelming with the stress contributes to an overall reduction of quality of life and to a wide range of disorders, including hypertension, cardiovascular disease, inflammatory bowel disease, and diabetes mellitus. The stress response in the body is nonspecific. A nonspecific response means that response pattern is the same regardless of what is causing the stress. This includes whether it is positive stress, which we know as eustress, or a negative stress, which we know as distress. So the eustress is challenging, growthing, controversial, and beneficial for us and help us to grow, help us to progress. But the negative stress is harmful, demanding, and damaging. And it is good to know that stress can mean different things to different people. That means that something that is stressful for one person could be non-stressful or positive challenge for another person. So what could be an stressor for a day? So everyday hassles like health problems, money issues, exams, a bad conversation with a boss, a bad conversation with a colleague, and something like that. Also, it could be a life change or turning points like death, divorce, or even getting married. Also, it could be a catastrophe or traumatic event like an accident or an attack. The stress reaction is a physiological response that can include emotional, cognitive, behavioral, and also it could be physical in our body. So the emotional effect includes fear, sadness, shame, anxiety, anger, helplessness, and hopelessness. Also, it could have a bad effect on our focus. It can interrupt our focus, our memory and concentration, and also it could have a negative effect on thinking and mental rigidity. Also, people who are faced with stress can experience absenteeism, appetite change, thinking risk, substance use, and neglect daily routines. And finally, physical stress can cause fatigue, allergies, tight chest, sweating, muscle pain, faint, and hair loss. And people can experience symptoms in 1, 2, 3, or all of these areas. And the intensity of them could be different. It could be high intensity or low intense. The body responds to the stress fast and slow. Getting excited or being afraid of dangerous situation are registered in the same area of the brain, which is called hypothalamus. The hypothalamus connects to our emotions and activate the fast and slow response to the stress. So as you can see here, the hypothalamus activates the autonomic nervous system in the brain. The autonomic nervous system regulates involuntary body functions such as heart rate, heartbeat, blood pressure, feeling of thirst, breathing, circadian rhythm, sleep, body temperature, and something like that. So the autonomic nervous system has 2 parts, called it the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. In the presence of a stress, the sympathetic system triggers the fast stress response. So by enhancing our arousal and by enhancing our energy. Briefly, the sympathetic nervous system stimulates the adrenal gland, which produce adrenaline and noradrenaline, which we heard a lot about them. So these chemicals makes you feel alert. However, when we produce an excess amount of them, it can cause to feeling fear and anxiety. So after that, the parasympathetic system is very important because it regulates the body to the normal, and it contracts the sympathetic system by conserving energy and can help us to calm down. So as you can see here, it is a priority for our body to deal with the stress because the body conserves stress, find the stress as an emergency situation. So the blood sugar is the key source of energy during an emergency. So because of that, heart rate will increase to pump blood and sugar to essential organs for run away, for fight, something like that. So heart rate will increase to pump blood sugar quickly to the muscles. Blood flow to the skin, gut, and other organs is reduced because they are unnecessary in stress response. So it is because of that, when you feel stress, when you are in the stressful situation, your hands sweating, you can hear your heart rate, you feel a butterfly in your stomach. So all of them are the fast stress response that you experience in the time of stress. And as you see, some non-essential organs like digestion is calmed down. So it's because of that. In the facing with the stress, we feel sometimes constipation and some digestion problem. Why sympathetic neurotransmitter regulates the initial stage of the stress response, and neuroendocrine response follow in the delayed but prolonged. So upon the perception of stress, the hypothalamus triggers the release of cortisol from the adrenal cortex. Increased level of cortisol causes to short-term memory loss, changing how your body manages the fat, sugar, and protein, so change your metabolism, changing appetite and sleep rhythm, and suppressing inflammation and the immune system. So it can prone to the disease for the people who are facing with the stress for the long time, and it can enhance the bone broken. According to the length of the stress, there is two types of stress, acute and chronic. So as you see here, and in today morning slides, so in the acute stress, the body has time to respond to the stress and to calm down. Approximately 15 minutes after the onset of stress, cortisol level elevated and remain elevated for several hours. After a fast and slow response to stress, the body can begin recovery, and it happens when the fast and the slow stop and the hormones produce disappear, and the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, calming you down and allowing your body system to return back to normal and be ready for another cycle of stress. But as you can see here, when you face with the stress for lots of time and frequently in a day and in your life, so the recovery can be cut short with another exposure. So the body has not the chance to recovery, and the amount of cortisol remain elevated in the body, and it make problem for the body. So treatment of tools offers tools that can be used to manage symptoms or cope with the symptoms and deal with triggers more effectively. Although pharmacological and psychological treatment plays an important role in mental health and mental problem management, recent evidence has shown the protective effect of non-pharmacological factors like physical activity and nutrition on management of stress. The focus of this talk is going to be on nutrition. Diet is an important effective factor in mental health. What people eat could influence their learning abilities, their memory, and mood through their whole life. So, there is an inverse relationship between diet quality and common mental health disorders, including anxiety. As you can see here, there is a bidirectional relationship between stress and obesity. Actually, obesity and especially intra-abdominal fat can increase the amount of cortisol in the body. So the amount of the increased amount of cortisol and stress means to intake of more comfort food. So stress leads to increase in hormones that are involved in the regulation of appetite and increase the appetite, and also the people who face the stress like to eat more food containing lots of sugar and lots of fat. Comfort food is a term that reflects the idea that palatable food intake reduce stress response. So people use it as some kind of self-medication for the stress. When you feel stress, you prefer to eat something sweet or something which is ready, like fast food or others, and it helps you to feel better. So because of that, we should be aware of our feeling and what we will eat during the course of stress or mental health problems. So let's see how our mental health is related to what we eat. During the fetal development, ectodermal cells are the origin of tissues in the gut and the brain, and they share common signaling pathway, which can provide a relationship between stress and diet. What we eat impacts brain function via three pathways. The first one is immunoregulatory pathway. The next is vagus nerve pathway, and the third one is neuroendocrine pathway. Normally, in the healthy intestine, the wall has integrity and controls the introit elements. But some food, as you can see here, can change the microbiota and integrity of the wall and make it leaky and inflamed. So here we have a healthy gut. In the healthy gut, there is no leakage, there is no toxin in the gut, so there's no inflammation. The vagus nerve that I talked to you about before is the nervous system that activates the parasympathetic system and help us to be calm and help the digestion. So when there is no inflammation in the bowel, so the vagus nerve is activated. Also, some hormones and some neuropeptide like serotonin are increased in the absence of inflammation in the gut, in the healthy gut. But in the leaky gut, in the damaged gut with inflammation, the inflammatory pathway is activated and it leads to stress response in the brain. Also, we don't have the positive effect of vagus nerve on our brain, and also some hormones which increase the level of cortisol, like CCK, increased when the gut is inflamed. So let's see how diet can have protective and adverse effects on what we eat. Okay, first one is the Mediterranean diet. Mediterranean diet and the diet rich in fruit and vegetables can has a protective effect on the stress because they have both of them have anti-inflammatory effect. Mediterranean diet is a diet which includes lots of essential oils, beneficial oils like olive oils and fish, and also it is full of fruit and vegetables. Also, probiotic have a direct influence on intestinal microbiotas and reduce the inflammation. The next one is high fiber diet. The high fiber diet could reshape the gut bacteria and reduce the inflammation again. Protein intake. It has been shown that with the diet with less protein intake, we have more effect of stress and anxiety. But receiving enough protein help body to produce some beneficial elements, some beneficial hormones and neuropeptides like serotonin. You heard about the serotonin and effect of serotonin on stress. A high protein diet can increase the serotonin and help to cope with the stress. And the third one is omega-3 fatty acids and monounsaturated fatty acid, which is very important for us. So there are healthy oils, and use of them can reduce the inflammation. All the diets that I mentioned here have the anti-inflammatory effects on our guts. So we have no inflammation, we have a positive effect of nervous system and the activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, and also a good hormones and neuropeptides like serotonin can increase our happiness and make us relax. On the other hand, Western diet full of sugar and diet full of fat can implement an adverse effect on stress and mental health. So as you can see here, they can increase the inflammation. So they can lead to a stress response. They can eliminate the positive effect of vagus nerve system, and also they can lead to increase of some hormones which cause a stress response. So if I want to mention very shortly about the vitamins and minerals which help us to cope with the stress and mental health, I can say that vitamin C and E as an antioxidant, vitamin D, vitamin B12 and B6, folate, magnesium, and zinc have protective effect on stress. And you can find all of these vitamins and minerals in actually in vegetables and plants and protein sources. So in summary, inflammation plays an important role in stress and anxiety mechanism. Following a healthy diet rich in plants, oil, fiber, and protein have a protective effect on inflammation and reduce stress and anxiety. And diet rich in sugar and processed food and fast food increase inflammation and cortisol and consequently stress level. At the end, I want to use this opportunity and let you know that we are looking for participants for our study. So our project is a weight loss health educational intervention at the workplace with consideration of the effect of resting metabolic rate. You can participate in our study as an individual and as a group, as a workplace group. So we will provide you with short and simple to implement educational package on nutrition and physical activity. We will help you to form a new healthy habits. Also, we will measure your RMR and do a body analysis test for free at the baseline, in the middle of the study, and at the end of the study. And these tests really help you to know about your metabolism, about your body percentage, fat percentage, and it works to do that. Also, you have, as a participant, you have everyday support and tracking during the program. It's a 6-month program. And we expected that hopefully at the end of the project for the participants to form a new healthy habits in diet and physical activity. And you know, when you make a behavior as a habit, so it doesn't need to think about that. So it means that you can have a healthier life after that program, hopefully. And we hope that you can, as a participant, reduce the mental health problem and has a mental health improvement. Also, a weight loss is another consequence of our project. Also, the muscle mass buildup. Finally, I have a special thanks to my supervisor, Dr. Dorman, and to my supervisor committee, Dr. Alison Godwin and Dr. Kerry McGannon. Also, I want to say thank you to CROSH for supporting my project, for giving me this opportunity, and also thank you NAMA and SHARE for funding the project. Thank you.
Well done. Nice looking slides, Parastou. Awesome at work.
Thank you.
There's a number of questions and we have a few minutes here, so I'll dive right in. The first question is from Alan Thrasher. He wants to know if, as the body is stressed out, does it use sugar as the primary energy source? And if it does that make us prone to then feeling fatigued more quickly? And which then is making us require more food consumption or more adrenaline to keep going under continued stress. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And actually, I didn't do any research on that. But as far as I know, so yes, when you feel stress, the sugar and the glucose is the main source of the stress for your body. But the fatigue, when we talk about the fatigue and stress, so fatigue is the consequence of the long-term stress, is the consequence of elevated amount of cortisol in the body for the long time, which make you fatigued. But actually, I'm not sure, Dr. Dorman, if you can help me, I would appreciate it. I'm not sure about the fast response to the stress and feeling fatigue and need to eat more sugar and something like that.
Well, for sure, when you have a really sugary treat, right afterwards, you're going to get an increase in your insulin production, which is then, so your sugar goes up and you feel a little energetic, and then your insulin goes up and your sugar goes back down, and then you sort of have a crash period after the food where you do feel like you want to take a nap. which then, yeah, and I would actually question that people will then turn more to caffeinated beverages to kind of keep the workday going. But Parastou is exactly right. When you're doing that repeatedly, it has longer term effects on your sleep, the quality of your sleep. And so you're also becoming more fatigued, like chronically, which is more of an issue, I would say, in the long run. A good question. Next question from Anonymous. Do sugar alcohols and sugar-free advertised foods and drinks still have the same negative effects as regular sugar?
So that's a good question. Actually, the sugar alcohol, I don't know what you mean. Actually, the sugar is the real sugar on the alcohol, so it could have the same effect like all sweet alcohol, all sweet beverage. But the artificial sweeteners, if we use them at the normal amount, it doesn't have like such a such a effect in our body and on stress, but the high amount of them can lead to inflammation too, unfortunately. So we should be careful about them. But recent, as far as I know, actually, recent studies has shown that if as far as we use them less and normal, it doesn't have any conservative effect on stress.
Okay, now we're at our break. So from 1:15 until 2 p.m., we're taking our last break of the day before we go into the final session on our environmental factors. But there are a few more questions here. So are you comfortable to stick around, Parastou, and we'll try and answer a couple more?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so the next question is from Mia Hanamaki. What diet do you personally think is the best to reduce stress?
So actually, as I said, diet can help to cope with the stress, cannot help to reduce the stress. There are lots of prescription and lots of things that you can do for the stress. But if you want to search, if you are looking for the word, the anti-inflammatory diet is the best one. So the anti-inflammatory diet is a diet full of plant, full of fruit, full of healthy oil, including unsaturated oil, and also the probiotic. This can help you to cope better with the stress.
Awesome. Great answer. From Aaron Mason. So does inflammation take more of a precedent role in the stress response compared to the other two pathways? So the hormonal and nervous in the gut-brain axis.
So we can say yes or no, because the base of the all problem for the gut wall, if you remember the leaky wall, is the inflammation. So the first problem is the inflammation in the gut. So inflammation can trigger those three pathways. But actually, we can say inflammation is the most important, but the other two pathways are really important and significant.
Okay. The next question is from Parisa Raquet. She says, I loved your presentation, Ms. Zerang. Very interesting topics. She's wondering what kind of analysis you do for your project. She wants to know if the percentage of inflammation is also being measured. Excuse me.
So it was not, thank you, Parisa. It was not a kind of full project. It was just a review, and it's not a full project. And there was not like that analysis you are looking for on that.
I think she's talking about the project that you're going to be doing next, right?
Mhm.
And one of the things we were talking about doing was potentially doing blood sampling, right? Which
Okay.
would then, it wouldn't assess directly in the gut, but it
Yeah.
can give you a sense of active inflammation in the blood. Yeah. So a question about your study. If someone is already eating a healthy diet, are they also welcome to join the study?
Sure. We are looking for the first, we are looking for the participants with BMI higher than 25, actually with obesity and overweight, but all are welcome.
Okay. What are the implications of a poor diet on other disorders such as psoriasis or dermatitis and inflammatory bowel disease or depression?
Okay, that's good and very broad question. So most of the diet that has good effect and protective effect on stress and anxiety has the same effect on depression. And also there are lots of studies on depression, and they find more relative and more significant relationship between, for example, inflammation and depression, or fast food and depression, and something like that. But I don't have any information about the psoriasis, but about the dermatitis, actually it's an inflammation problem. So the anti-inflammatory diet can help to cope with them. I hope it helps.
Yep. Okay, two more questions. What do you think about the effect of coffee in our diet in terms of stress?
That's a very good question. So about the coffee, it has been shown that the caffeine can increase the level of cortisol, but people actually like to use coffee, and we cannot say them to not to drink coffee. So the best time for drinking coffee is in the morning, when normally the level of cortisol is high in our body. So it's kind of alignment with the normal body. But so in the evening, when the amount of cortisol is going down to the body, so it's not prescribed, or it's not recommended to drink coffee, because it can trigger stress.